Welcome to the best hour of their day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez
and me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
as both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better boxes. Welcome to
the best hour of your day.
Back in your lives, Ackerman here, my man Christian Jensen, survived the hurricane, got power back just in time to be on this show with me, but we've heard from, I would say, the world at this point. We heard from the world.
I feel like this is when owners are like, all my members said they hate the programming and they want us to go back to Strength Plus Metcon.
Yeah, everyone just, it's everyone. And they're like, hey, we want you to go. I'll tell you what happened, Christian. And by the way, if you don't know Christian, owner of Modern Human CrossFit down in Daytona. Is it Daytona?
Yep.
Daytona, Florida, along with his wife, Kayla, friend, colleague, Star Wars nerd. Those are the three adjectives I would use to describe you. Friend, nothing to do with fitness. Friend, colleague, Star Wars nerd. Actually, we already have 7 people watching. I told you everyone. If you have here's my question. If you're watching this show throughout, whenever Christian is on, tell me if you're game for this, Christian.
I'm down.
Whenever Christian is on, because we're going to have guests on over the coming weeks and months, you drop a Star Wars question in the chat. Canon, right, Christian?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
He will get it right. I'm betting anyone right now, you will never. There's a thing called the Gracie Challenge, Christian, in the jiu-jitsu space. The Gracies, before like all the schools, all jiu-jitsu become mainstream, would have an open challenge. You can walk in and challenge us to a fight. Time, place, doesn't matter. We're doing the Jensen Challenge, and that is no one. I've got my money on you. That's how
no one.
No one will ever stump you with a Star Wars question on this show. And no Googling, no chat GPTing from the brain of Christian Jensen. Deal?
That's a deal.
All right. AAA, happy birthday, my man. It's AAA's 25th birthday.
Dude, Kanan is killing it at 25. Like him and I have talked a lot about, he's overcome a lot of obstacles, both with his gym and outside of his gym. I'm like, dude, you're crushing it. Like, who opens up a business and is crushing that business at 25?
It's incredibly impressive. One, it's a privilege. Like, I truly love this kid, and I'm just so proud of him. And it's happy birthday. And I think it just goes to show what the right attitude for the right people with the right work ethic can do. Because this guy's 25 and just absolutely demolishing it. He says he's going to see you later.
He's going to hit me up. Me and AAA are friends. We get, sometimes we hop on the phone, sometimes we text. I know. Don't be too jealous. It's fine.
I'm a little. I'll tell you what. AAA left me on red. They left me on red a couple weeks ago. Did you know that?
If it makes you feel any better, sometimes I also get left on red. But
that's a thing for him.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to drop the link to his box in the chat over here. Go check out AAA CrossFit. Never forget.
And the cool thing about Kanan's gym is it was a basketball court that he turned into a CrossFit gym.
He's got. I think he said on the last Monday call, we're at like 100. Kanan, are you still there? I think 160 members. It's nuts.
And he started with 0. Like, what was it like? Was it even 2 years ago now?
He was just starting year 3. He just started year 3 with Affiliate U. So yeah. Wow. I'll tell you, like, one of the things I always see, I call him AAA, everybody, because over 100, because he got 3 A's in his first name. But we're Facebook friends, and he pops up on my Facebook feed all the time with, like, out to lunch with this person, out to coffee with this person, like, constantly building his community. He sent me a picture this morning, like the member snuck into the gym, decorated it for his birthday. It's like, you're doing the things right. All right. So what I was going to say is, so we're at the San Diego Summit. Fern, myself, Nate, of course, for media, and Cody. Cody, I want to say he was there, but he wasn't really there because he got so wasted Friday night with Dan from Push Press. Those Push Press people are a terrible influence on Cody. And Christian, I know we've joked about it. I thought he died. Like if I got a text that was like, "Hey, Cody's dead," I would have been like, "Yeah,
I thought so. I thought so.
That's what happened." Like he just ghosted us. Like, and you know, Cody, I can text him at 2 a.m. and he responds. So San Diego, I come down Saturday morning early, getting started to the day, and I saw on the bar of the hotel Push Press sunglasses and like coins, like if you went to the casino, right?
Right. Yeah. Like the betting chips.
And I was like, oh, nothing good happened here. I was like, this is like a crime scene. I was like, something bad happened in this area.
There's like a poker chip, an empty bottle, and like one shoe.
Yeah,
and you're like, well, what happened here?
Turns out, like, I was coming down, they were literally just going up. So anyway, point being, we're at the San Diego Summit, and Mike, I don't know if Mike's on here, used to go by Eaton Beaver on YouTube. I know, very vulgar, but he was like, "I miss you live," and I was like, "Okay." We miss going live too. Like, for the record, we made the push to go all in-person interviews because they're fantastic quality. Christian is the man behind the scenes as far as, that's a good question, James. Glad to see you, James. James is taking his level 4 in December, James. He's staying over in the ADU right here behind the house. I'm really pumped to see him. And he was at the Knowledge event a couple weeks ago, and I heard from Todd Acuto, who ran the event along with Pat Barber and Ryan Wheeler. They said James crushed it. So, James, I'm really pumped for you. What's the answer?
And if you pay attention to any of the wins that Haley, who's our social media coordinator, she's posting wins from the Knowledge all the time. Week after week, James is popping up there with like a huge win. Like, since he's been getting plugged in with the Knowledge Pro, just like really, it's just been really cool seeing all those things level up.
Cool. Well, let me tell a quick story about James. Because again, we have no agenda today. I do have one thing I want to share from social media. But hey, Christian, answer the question. What faction in Star Wars would I be a part of? Sith?
As soon as I saw it, I already knew the answer.
It's not.
Are you ready for it? I don't think you're ready for it.
No, tell me.
Jay's a Jawa.
Oh, is that a Jabba the Hutt?
No. They're the short hooded.
Yeah.
They live on Tatooine. Well, and one, the stature fits. And then 2, nothing that Jay does is original. And the Jawas steal things from other people. So.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Hey, what's my elevator pitch, Keenan? I don't get it. What am I talking about? What am I pitching? So I was saying, let me tell a story about James. James, because, I didn't tell you this, Christian. We've got bonus chapters coming out for Best Hour of Their Day book. So Cody and I, we're redoing the cover, and I've written 5 bonus chapters, and those are going to come out. And I started thinking about, my old days at the box, a couple about back in the day at the gym. I got a chapter about rekindling my relationship with Caleb, and then a couple chapters about the company. And
Jocko's going to do the audio version.
And Pat, my buddy Pat, James, you must have met Pat, was at the Knowledge event. He's a close buddy, lives in town. I met him at Ralston Creek. He's like my closest friend in the area, comes over all the time. And he was like, "Oh, I got to meet James." And James told him the story. And this is a perfect story for all of you out there, all 10 of you watching. Write some notes down. And by the way, if you're watching this, send it to somebody. Send it to your mom, your uncle, ideally a CrossFitter. Let's build some momentum up. We're back live every Tuesday, 12:30 Eastern. I know Savon goes live, Souza goes live. So we were trying to make it a Tuesday morning CrossFit event for you guys. But in about 2000, James, what was it, 2009 or 10, James graduates. He went to Binghamton, which is a fantastic state school in New York. And he did an internship with us, finished the internship, and then literally would just show up. We'd run Fight Gone Bad on a Saturday, James would show up. We'd have a competition, James would show up. And I remember talking to Caleb at the time, and I was like, hey, I think we need to hire this guy. Like he keeps showing up. What's the right end? Like, what do we do? And lo and behold, we hired him. He's now been at Albany CrossFit longer than I have. I mean, I've not owned the gym.
That's really cool.
I've owned it, yeah. So I sold it. I think it might have been about 10 years ago. So,
well, that's such a good example too, where, people will ask like, hey, how do I get into coaching? Or how do I, I got my level 1, how do I start coaching in my box? And I'm the same way as James. Like I started sweeping the gym that I was a member at. And then that turned into starting to coach and doing things from there. But just like showing you have the initiative, makes it so your owner feels like, well, I have to make this person a part of my team.
Like James has put me in a predicament where I have to hire him, right? And that's like not entirely true. Obviously it fit in the budget because he was full time and all that, but he made him. This is a better way to put it. He made himself invaluable.
Yeah.
Like there was a correlation. When James showed up to an event, it was better. Period. Okay. Well, then you've made yourself valuable enough that I need to hire you. And I think to your point, this is analogous for life, right? Like everybody wants to have that fast track. And I feel like I deserve this, where it's like, show up, right? The same story for me on seminar staff. It was like, before I was even interning, I was just showing up to seminars, be like, how can I help? If there's a seminar within 3 hours, I would drive to him and be like, what do you need? Well, nothing. Okay, well, I'm here. Worst case is I watched a free level 1, right? They can't do that these days, but all of that. Brad Marshall, it's been a minute, probably. You like
that? Yeah.
Oh, it must have been a level 2. Like that was probably the last time I coached a class. I haven't coached an affiliate. I will say I've been going to Cold Creek CrossFit. It's in Superior, Colorado. It's like it's literally across the street. I can walk there 12 minutes. My buddy Pat, who James met, coaches there. So I started going. I went there originally for the best hour, and I was going to just do a drop-in. And then I was like, oh, I like the place. The owner's fantastic, Carrie. She lives in my neighborhood. She's got an open house I'm going to next week. So I love the community. It's like the first thing I miss the first thing I recognize when I go back to the box was, man, I miss the community. All the people live in this area. They have kids. I met an awesome dude, Brian, a bunch of other awesome people. So it's been fun. But man, I'll tell you the big difference is I smashed myself I told you this, Christian. We were talking about it. I'm like, I'm too old for CrossFit. And it's not that I'm too old. There was a workout last week. Here was the workout. So I answered Brad's question. Take that down. So here was the workout. 10-minute AMRAP, 9 chest to bar pull-ups, 12 handstand push-ups. So 10 minutes, 9 and 12. When the 10 minutes was up, you rested 5 minutes. And then it was 5 rounds for time, 10 chin over bar pull-ups, 12 shoulder overhead with 50-pound dumbbells. That was what it was. It was Training Think Tank is what they follow. Okay. And I was like, hey, if you could create a workout where Jason could win the CrossFit Games, like he shows up, he beats, Sprague and Dallin, that was it. And
no chance, just to be clear.
First of all, I think I would have beat them. I'm serious. I would have beat them.
I don't think there's a single event that like you could come up with that you would win. There's no way.
Dude.
Maybe, and this is a hard maybe, max double unders, something like that.
No, I'm terrible at double unders.
There you go. You got nothing. Just the speed at which those guys move is like, it would have to be something unfathomable.
It would have to be short enough that my height was an advantage.
They're not that much taller than you, right? What did they like?
Like I'm saying, it was like 10 seconds max air squats. Like,
oh yeah.
Like you just couldn't. Anyway, Brad clearly follows Training Think Tank. That workout demolished. So I got 8 rounds. Brad, was that? Let me know because I wanted the box here. Was that a good score, Brad? I got 8 rounds of the 9 chest to bar, 12 handstand push-ups, and then my the five rounds was like, I want to say like 721. So it was like I couldn't move my arms the next day. Like,
How many rounds did you get?
8. So I
bet Brad got more than you.
Yeah, I would have beat him. 96 handstand. This was like your classic rhabdo. Like, luckily they weren't 2 movements that would elicit rhabdo, but it was like, hey, you don't train that hard, but this workout you can smash. But anyway, point is, I go to the box like 2-3 days a week now. On the days I'm like, I'm going to hammer it, and then I try to hit the other days at home to like modulate the intensity.
Can we sidebar Gordon Lake real quick? Gordon, just so you know, these are sleeping bags. Here, sleeping bags. I got smashed with a hurricane. I got my bug out bags back there, my sleeping bags. It's not dirty. I just need to put my hurricane supplies away.
Have a little empathy, man.
Gordon also got hit with a hurricane.
CrossFit Milton smashed Christian over there. See, Brad said monster score. Good. Yeah, you beat me on the second round, but I couldn't, like, my shoulders were demolished. 50-pound dumbbells. I was like, this is heavy. So thanks, Brad. By the way, Brad's podcast, what is it? Greater Culture Podcast?
Yeah, just went out yesterday.
With me on it?
No, that was the Behind the Knowledge one. So Brad's actually got 2 episodes from the CrossFit Games.
Fern was on as well.
Say that again?
Fern was on recently too.
Fern was on
Brad's podcast recently.
Oh, Fern was on Brad's podcast. Yeah. Got it. Yeah, you were just on Brad's podcast too.
Yeah.
We're cross-pollinating with Brad's podcast.
Well, what happened was we interviewed Brad at... Oh, you're saying Brad was on our Knowledge podcast.
Yes. I thought you were talking about our podcast. Brad's episode just recently went out yesterday on for Behind the Knowledge. Yeah.
Not the best hour. So for those that are unaware, we've got the Best Hour podcast, which is typically me and Fern. We've got Behind the Knowledge, which is Pat Barber, Todd Acuto. We've got some long form content that goes out on Fridays, which is typically presentations from summits, from masterminds, etc. We've got some short form pieces coming out. Point being, you're
more coaches development videos that we've been putting out. We've been putting out a ton on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, this is the place. If you want to become a better affiliate owner or coach, you can do it for free on our YouTube channel. So share it. Tell a friend that we have a YouTube channel, and they're going to want to check it out. But yeah, I was on Brad's podcast. Fern was, and then let's go check it out. The Greater Culture Podcast. Yeah, Christian's crushing it. I will say. So Christian, part of the reason our YouTube has been growing so rapidly as of late is the thumbnails. And Christian is the man behind the thumbnails, the man behind the titles. Haley is doing a fantastic job as far as social media presence. So really good stuff coming out. And we've got more in the works. Fern and I will be together at the Austin Summit in November 1st and 2nd. And we've got some fun content coming your way. Let's go to Brad's question. Pull that one up. I want to understand.
Which one?
Love to hear. I got it. Love to hear you riff on the concept of how coaching or the need for coaching change as the group fitness scene has exploded with so many options now.
So, Brad, is your question like, how do we, what I'm reading this and let me know if this is it. How do we basically differentiate ourselves as a group fitness model between boot camps or Orange Theory or F45s, where there's all these like other group fitness models, but how does our coaching differentiate us?
And while Brad's hearing that and getting back to it, because there's a delay with what they're hearing, I would say, going back to the box, going to Coal Creek, there's a few takeaways I have. And that is cool. I'll add to that, Brad. But a few things that make a class really good, and this is to that point, Brad. Start the class on time. Like a non-negotiable, if you're a CrossFit coach, is whatever time that class is, 5:45, 9 a.m., noon, you have to start on time. Even I take that personally with us. Like we were talking to 10:30, we're going live. We have a Monday call at 9 a.m., we're opening it up. Like you have to respect other people's times. And especially as someone, who's busy, the 9 a.m. class, I often have something right after or before. So it's like, cool, I need to also know it's going to end on time. So start on time, end on time. If you do those two things consistently, I you've gained my trust at least. Like what happens in the middle is very important, but I'm like, cool. I know when I have this 10:30 live, I can still hit the 9 a.m. because I have to get home, shower, like whatever I need to do to prepare for this. Like that's really important. And then I would say let's talk about, and Christian, fill in the blanks too, like a few.
Here, I'll pull this up.
Yeah, and right, coaching is important, but I don't want to say it's less important, but I do think I'm a unique avatar in the sense that, look, I don't move perfectly, right? Like Christian, you can attest to that, but I also am receptive to quick coaching cues. So I don't need a massive Pat. I'll go into his classes. I will tell you this about Pat Oyston. Every class he's given me at least one cue that I'm like, whoa, that made, we were doing bar muscle ups, and I've always considered myself bad at bar muscle ups. Like once I get him going, I can probably string 15. But he was like, hey, dude, you're jumping up and starting to kip. He's like, just jump into your kip. Bro, it unlocked bar muscle ups for me. It was crazy. And I was like, that was an amazing cue. Or that workout that I was talking about earlier, the chest to bar. He's like, hey, you're kind of not pushing away, but you're kind of not doing butterfly. He was like, pull through. And I was like, oh, wow, that was great. So getting some cues there, but keeping it light and fun. So I did give Pat this feedback. We're at the 9 a.m. class. It's me and like 5 moms. He's playing death metal. Like complete death metal, which I cannot stand. Like I would rather listen to anything, like put on classical, put on Beethoven, don't put on death metal. And I was like, dude, this is the 9 a.m. class. You got this old guy who you know loves classic rock, and you've got 5 soccer moms. They don't want to be listening to this, right? So like, and he was like, well, Pat does this all the time. Somebody said your coach is not your DJ. And I'm like, dude, no. I was like, yes. What I mean by that, and we'll bring this into the Instagram post in a moment, but what I mean by that is I'm not going to sit here and flip from song to song for you. But when I see a room full of middle-aged moms and an old guy, I'm playing like 90s pop, right? Like I'm playing boy bands, or I'm playing fun stuff. Like know your audience. And if somebody's like, hey, this woman, Emily, was like, hey, play the Cranberries, like put the Cranberries on. Spotify, Apple Music makes it so simple. So don't become so dogmatic in your beliefs. But
I mean, on that, my perspective on the role of coaching from a business perspective has shifted a lot to what I believed 5 years ago. Like if you had asked me 5 years ago, I would have been like, coaching is the end all be all. You gotta like make sure that everybody gets tons of cues and they gotta move better at the end of class. And now I realize, like looking at other gyms, like, you know, there's some gyms that I've been to that come to mind that exploded, that if you looked at their coaching, you're like, you're not doing any coaching. You're just like cheerleading people, but people love the vibe and they show up. And so I actually think that's the most important, is like make sure it has a fun vibe that people want to show up to. And then layer on coaching. And that means like making new people feel comfortable, and then giving veterans those nuggets like you got, to make sure like, man, I'm still getting something out of this. And I think when you pair those two things, the vibe will continue to like amp people up short term, but then doing that coaching, keeping them safe and moving well and progressing is actually what will like keep their retention long term.
yeah, it's got to be fun. Like most people don't know what good or bad coaching is yet. And for me, like I said, I go there for the intensity, but getting a cue like that makes it worthwhile. I'm like, oh, now I can, next time bar muscle ups come up, next time chest to bar, like that was a great cue that I can take with me. But yeah, it has to be fun. It
like adds that wow factor to your experience.
Yeah.
Where you showed up and you're like, I just want to have a good time, but then Pat delivered something that you didn't expect, and it's like, oh, like this feels above and beyond. Yeah,
and to that point, there does come a point in time in everyone's fitness where like, I do have to get better, right? The CrossFit methodology will continue to ring true, right? Intensity is the independent variable most commonly associated with the rate of return of favorable adaptation. If we cannot ratchet up our intensity, which comes through good movement, we're not going to get fitter. We're not going to get the results we want. But before 99% of people care about their results, they care about being consistent, right? Nothing trumps that. I have to be showing up 3 to 4 to 5 times a week on a regular basis for months. You're going to accidentally get fitter just by showing up.
When I've never had somebody walk in my door, and I shouldn't say never, very rarely do I have somebody walk in my door that's like, hey, I'm interested in specifically your coaching my movement.
Yeah.
Like most of the time they come in and they're like, hey, like I've been trying to do it on my own and I'm not motivated. Or, I know that I kind of know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I don't want to come up with new workouts and I need somebody to kind of watch my form a little bit. But they're not like coming in and wanting the amount of coaching that we're prepping for. And I think that's appropriate. I think we should be more prepared than what they need.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe I'm a good avatar, maybe I'm not, right? Like CrossFitter, nearly 20 years, take the L4 aside, and it's like, I'm a normal person that just wants to have fun and show up and be fitter, right? And I think ultimately that's what it's all about, like making sure, they're showing up consistently. Bad CrossFit still works. Now, you want, like, if someone gets hurt, that's not ideal for your business. And, I do want to, when I took a class with Carrie, she was like, hey, get your weight back in your heels. It's like, cool, I hear you. Like, coach. And I would also say this, like, for the record, this stance, like, I think if you're not changing your stance on things, you're probably not evolving. I'll say, like, go into class consistently, time and a place for 2 pieces. I honestly think, like, I've not had enough exposure to it yet. They switched over to Training Think Tank maybe like less than a month ago. I think they do a nice balance of, hey, twice a week we go. There's a 2-piece today, but like if it's 25 minutes or more, it's a longer Metcon, and often it'll be like the strength is short enough that it's like 3 to 5 sets, and also the movement makes sense for the workout.
Oh, that's the worst when it's like, hey, we're going to do snatch for the strength, but then, we're going to do Fran for the workout. And we're like, why are we doing this?
Right. Like that's where it's like, because you're coaching the movement. Like when we talk about strength and Metcon, I'll tell you, like you told me this when I was like, I don't think I can do CrossFit anymore. I'm smashing. You're like, it's probably the volume. Mm-hmm. And that was different programming. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm going in and every day there's 2 pieces. Right. So it was just too much. And I think making sure the movement in the strength piece makes sense. So for example, I think that day that I brought up earlier, there wasn't a strength piece, but like if there was, it would have been like, say, like a push press, because like, hey, now we're going overhead, and it just has to make sense. So
that's what we do at my gym. Like it depends on what you mean by 2 pieces, but most of the day, like today, for instance, we have Grace. We're gonna be doing Grace, so that means Grace is only gonna last like 5 minutes or less.
5, right? Yeah.
So before Grace, like we're going to do some sort of like clean and jerk practice and build up. And there's probably going to be some sort of like EMOM, or every 2 minutes, you're going to do 3 clean and jerks. And so when you look at that, you're like, oh, that's 2 pieces. But really I'm using that first piece as also as a specific warm up, as well as a sort of strength plus Metcon.
Yeah. And I would say on that note, 2 things to consider would be, as long as the strength piece isn't like, it's a primer, right? So say, you're going to do 135, 95 for Grace. Cool. If I work up to 185, 205, now when I back off to 135, it feels light.
Right. And there's a sweet spot too, where like, that's why I said, we'll probably do 3 or 5, probably 3 reps is what I'll do as part of the buildup. Cause it's enough reps where like somebody's going to be limited on how heavy they can go, so they're not smoked before the workout, but then it's few enough reps that they can build up heavier than the workout. Because if I did, if I told them, hey, we're going to do 7 reps every 2 minutes, like, well, I'm not going, I'm not doing more than 135. Like that's what I'm going to do in the workout. So I need to leave a little bit of room so they can put overload.
And I would also throw out there, and like, especially Grace, where it's a classic, a benchmark, work up to a heavy after.
Yeah.
Right. Like now you're fatigued. So by being fatigued from 30 reps, I'm immediately limiting what I'm going to take overhead anyway. Like I'm already tired.
one of the things that we like to do that I like as a coach, but I don't actually like as an athlete, is sometimes when we do two pieces. Today is actually a good example where like maybe we don't do a big build up for Grace. Maybe we do some empty bar Bergner warm up, and then we might do call it like lightweight workout weight, one set heavier, and then we're jumping right into the workout. And then after the workout, we're gonna do Turkish get ups.
Yeah.
And so we do that every once in a while. And like I said, not a favorite as an athlete, but as a coach, I'm like, dude, like this is a good one to do.
Yeah, but and also for the record, in the open, I don't know this to be true. I'm sure that we could find it. Maybe somebody knows this, but almost every time there's a heavy lift and a Metcon, it's after the Metcon.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's rarely work up to X, then hit this. It's always here's your, like Castro used to always say, like, earn your ability to express strength.
Yep.
Right? So
yeah, because sometimes it's been like time remaining.
Yeah.
You have time remaining to do it, or other times there's been like 2 time windows and you got to hit that
right. Let's add, what are both of your favorite characteristics or traits in a coach when you're taking class? I mean, punctuality's got to be up there for me. Like the busier I get, the more important that is to me. And then I would throw in, like, I don't know how to better say it other than presence and attitude. Like, it's just got to be a fun, light environment. Like, I'm not there to be taking this shit seriously. Like, we're working out, we're having a good time. Music matters. Like, I'm not saying you're a DJ, but like, death metal is never the answer in a CrossFit affiliate. Like, I hate it. It gives me a headache. Like, in fairness to Pat, I told him I didn't hear it after the second round, but it was like annoying that I heard it before we started. What would you say, Christian?
No, fun's a big one for me. Like I'm there to take class to let loose, and because I've been doing this a while, while I need coaching, I don't need a ton of coaching. And so somebody that will balance, giving me the things that I need, while also, meeting me where I'm at psychologically and knowing like, hey, this is my time to just like relax.
Yeah. It's like, I'm here to have fun.
And that's a big thing I teach my coaches is I teach them that everybody has a psychological threshold for how much coaching they get. And that varies from day to day. But we have some members who like, I know that I got a couple chances to like fix your movement. And if I don't do it, you're done. And I can just tell like they're burned out. Nothing's going to happen. And then I've got members on the other side who they're like, give me more cues. And I'm like, no, just work on the thing that I gave you. I'll give you more tomorrow.
Yeah, you haven't changed your movement. Like, you don't need more. I think that's an important concept, right? Like, we talk about psychological threshold as far as intensity goes, but it's anything, right? Like your spouse, like I can tell Roz 10 different things. I'm like, oh, she heard the first one and that's it. Because she was angry or she was thinking about it. Like, it's like, you have to get to know that person.
And some people respond better to traditional cueing, and other people respond better to tricking them by praising them. Like I've got some members who I'm like, hey, great job squatting low. And I know sure as shit, it was not low, but all of a sudden when you praised them for it, they actually started squatting lower.
Yeah.
And so knowing what motivates people to do what you want them to do.
Well, and I'll tell you this, like before James, yes, James likes that death metal. Like, I don't like, if I do not play that at your level 4, James, you will fail. So no, in that workout, and I know I'm like belaboring this Pat, but I take his classes primarily, but we're doing the chest to bar and I'm crushing it. I'm out of breath and I'm still good, by the way, going unbroken on these. And he like looks at me, he's like, hey, pull your chest through, like pull your elbows back. And in my mind, I was like, F off, dude. Like, just back off. Like, that's literally what went through my mind. I was like, bro, I'm fine. And then I got up there and I did it. And it was in my mind, I was like, oh, that was actually really good. I was like, he got me on that one. Like, he was right. Like, I thought I was doing it well. And I was like, oh, they got so much easier. That bar muscle up one, I was like, that was amazing that you picked that out. So
I had something similar the other day with Kayla was coaching, and she gave me a cue, and I don't remember what it was. And she came back around to check, and I wasn't doing it. And she said, "Hey, like maybe it was press more overhead." She's like, "Hey, press up more," and said it as if I didn't hear her the first time. And I'm like, "I'm trying." Like I need you to know that. And I told her this. I was like, if you give me a cue, I'm not ignoring you. I'm trying. And so like if it's not working, maybe I need a different cue or something like that. But just know like I'm not ignoring you.
Yeah, that's the worst. Where like there are times where like when Pat told me that one, like I was able to adjust, but I can fully understand if not, like you'd be like, I'm telling you, like there's times where like I heard you, like I'm trying to figure this out. Like we're also in the middle of a workout. Like now we're at intensity. This is no longer the warm-up speed. Well, and to Brad, your point, we hear fun a lot. Like that's presence and attitude, right? Like, yeah, when we hear fun, it's presence and attitude. Like I'd say the most simplest. I talk to this about the team and on the best hour team all the time. Like I don't understand why people like me. Like I'm unlikable.
I don't get it either.
And Fern will always be like, trust me, no one doesn't get it more than me. But it's like I think it just comes down to like, do people enjoy hanging out with you? Like when I'm around the people I like, especially coaching, like you're having a good time because I'm having a good time. And it's like our mastermind, like we're really deep into the planning phase right now for Orlando. For those that are a part of Affiliate U, we have a client mastermind January 24th to 26th in Orlando. It's like that's the most fun I'm going to have all year, right? Like I love being around one, our team, and two, our clients. So it's like that's it. If and that goes to the music too, right? Like yeah, James may have a good time listening to death metal. That's strange to me, but like when I go into class, I'm playing like fun music that not only gets me pumped up, right? Like because now if I'm excited, it's going to trickle down to everybody else. Let's dig in. I wanted to pull my post up. What do I do to share my screen?
Do I need to pull it up?
Yeah,
If you hit the.
Go ahead. If you can pull it up, go ahead. Yes, I cherry pick workouts.
Which one was it?
If you scroll down like 7 rows, it says literally yes, I cherry pick workouts. While Caleb's doing that, Christian's doing that, I was writing my chapter. So I was writing a bonus chapter last night in the book. The original copy, talk about my friend Caleb Nelson, who has a beautiful daughter now, and we've rekindled our relationship over the last few years. And I'm excited to tell everybody the story because that wasn't true when the book came out. But I've got 5 new chapters coming out. It's going to be for our Affiliate U clients first. They're going to get first. There may or may not be copies in the swag bag at the mastermind. Not TBD. TBD. Maybe we'll do a little book signing.
I don't like giving you credit when you're funny, but it was really funny. Our last mastermind that you during your presentation, you told them they can get your book on Amazon, knowing that we gave every single one of them one of your books. That was really good.
Thank you, Kate. Oh man, I was telling you before we got on, I have never been more excited for my opening remarks at the next mastermind. Year 2, let me say this, AAA. Year 2 has a special event on Friday. And I'm going to tell you, I'll tell a quick sidebar before we get this. I saw you pulled it up.
Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
The gift that year 2 is getting at the mastermind almost caused Best Hour of Their Day, LLC, to close down. And I'm not talking financially. Like, it's a nice gift. But Marcus and I got into a massive, like Marcus and I do not fight. Fern and I fight. Marcus and I never fight. And I wouldn't say we were fighting, but we were like in such a strong disagreement about this gift. I won. I'm going to tell you this. I won with a little bit of a Marcus spin to it, but you guys are going to flip. Yeah, Louis, you're going to love it. It's not new action figures, but I was trying to work on new action figures. They're very hard to make. All right, pull up this post. So over on my Instagram, Coach Jason Ackerman, feel free to go follow if you don't already.
You ready?
Yeah, let's see. Can we hear it?
Yeah, I'll turn the volume.
Jason Ackerman, and I'm a cherry picker.
Can you hear
and
it?
That's okay. Because if you're a cherry picker, I want to support you on to tell you it's okay to cherry pick because here's the deal. We're here to have fun doing this CrossFit thing. So if you're like me and you hate rope climbs, you hate double unders, never do them again. Guess what? You're going to be okay. If you're climbing a rope out there in the real world, let me tell you something. Something's going wrong. If you're climbing a rope, something is going wrong. And if you're doing double unders in the real world, you're at a circus or you're doing something. But point is, you never have to do those things, and that's okay. We're here to have fun. If I'm having fun, I'm going to be more consistent. If I'm being more consistent, I'm going to get more fit. If I'm getting more fit over the years of my life, I'm going to be healthier. So if you're a cherry picker or you have cherry pickers at your box, I support you. Show up Mondays, 8 p.m., Cherry Pickers Anonymous. Hi, my name is Jason Ackerman.
That's a good one.
Case, we hope to see you. Oh, thanks, Joseph. Case, we hope to see you at the mastermind. I saw your emails going back and forth with Fern, so hopefully we get you guys back. So here's the deal. I stand like this is a true story. And let's talk about rope climbs, Christian. If I see rope climbs in a workout at Coal Creek, right? I go to Coal Creek every weekend. I look at the next 5 days or the weekdays of programming. I can't always make it, but if I can, I'm like, what's the workout? Because I want to go on days that I'm going to push myself. And I want to also go on days where if it's something I can easily set up at home, like I'll do it at home, save myself the short commute time, etc. But point is, rope climbs. I hate rope climbs. I hate them because they always tear up my shins. I hate them because I just think the risk versus reward is not there. So I don't do them. But here's the deal. Christian, when you were visiting, we went to Ralston Creek CrossFit and there was rope climbs. Correct?
And you're terrible at them.
I'm terrible at them, but
it took you it was like 6 or 7 pulls. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't even a 15-foot rope.
It was a 15-foot rope. But point is, I still did them.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Unless you're competing, I will honestly, with the exception if Madison or Bodie gets involved in some sort of activity that they're rope climbing consistently, I'll never have to do rope climbs again in my life. Now, the argument is, if you can get better at rope climbs, you're probably getting better at X, Y, and Z, right? We talk about it at the level 1. These movements have a universal motor recruitment pattern. If I improve my ability to deadlift, I can probably box jump better. I can probably run a little bit faster. I'll give you this analogy. Not even an analogy, it's a story. When I went to Coal Creek CrossFit first workout, it's over on, I think we used it for the Coach's Eye with Pat Barber. Pat was coaching. We did Jackie. And I got 720 something. Been back at CrossFit about 2 to 3 months now. I dropped into Boulder CrossFit. The owner, her name is Monique. I did her level 1 and level 2 recently, and she started training jiu-jitsu where I train at Easton. And she was like, oh, I'd love for you to drop in. Drop in 2 Mondays ago, and it was Jackie. 656. So I got, dude, I'm telling you.
All right.
So I got 20-something, 30-something seconds faster. I think the benefit is cherry picking is when I go in, I'm all intensity. When I'm there to try to win the CrossFit Games. Now, the other component to this, and I think some of the comments, the argument is, I don't know if you scroll a little bit. Thanks, Anna. Go to the Coach Yvonne. Maybe to a degree, yes. But going outside of your comfort zone, yes, absolutely. I do. I think that's true, Coach Yvonne. However, I would say, as someone who does hard things, it's not a big deal. Doing a rope climb is not hard enough that I'm oh my God, I just unlocked the next level, right? And by the way, I also feel if you're going to CrossFit for fitness, it's actually not hard. You're doing something you enjoy. You're actually having fun based on everything. Doing something hard is hey, get off your phone for 2 hours and be present with your spouse or children, or go for a walk without earbuds. For most people, if you're following my Instagram or you're listening now, CrossFit's actually one of the easiest things you do every day. There's I don't have a better way to put it other than, sure, it's physically challenging, but we're purposely putting ourselves in that challenge.
Yeah, well, and I think too, and to kind of respond to Brad's comment where he said, "Does this encourage unlimited membership?"
Good.
I think there's a reality too of like we have a responsibility as coaches to again meet people where they're at, and so like
Talk about
my gym's open.
That snatch guy.
Right. So my gym's open 6 days a week. You know how many people are showing up to my gym 6 days a week? It's like 3 people, and I know exactly who they are, and they're the reason we're closed on Sundays. So
Right.
that means everybody else makes a choice on what days they're going to work out and not work out. And so I had and so I meet them where they're at. And so I had a member, he was new, he tried out class, and we were talking about what he was looking for in a gym. And he's like, "Hey, I'm going to give it to you straight. Like, I don't want to snatch." And I was like, "No problem. You don't ever have to snatch." And I asked him, I said, "So when we show, instead of you skipping snatch days, are you cool to either clean or do a dumbbell snatch?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm cool. So then if we do PVC pipe work, are you comfortable doing PVC pipe snatch progressions? And then I'll swap you out when the workout shows up instead of doing a barbell snatch." "Yeah, cool." So that's what we did for like, I think it was like a year. And then eventually he ended up coming around and started doing barbell snatch work with us again. But it was just the point of where like, instead of me either letting him just skip, or instead of me forcing him to do snatches, I met him in the middle where he was at, was like, "Hey, if this day works for you to come get in your workout, come get in your workout, and we can tweak it." It's not like he was asking to, do a totally different movement.
Or just like class.
Yeah, I'm like, "You're not disrupting my class." Or even yesterday was a good example. We had rope climbs at the gym, and I had coached the class before, and I had demoed a bunch, and I was just feeling not great because I hadn't worked out for 3 days because of the hurricane. And Kayla was coaching. I'm like, "Hey," I was like, "I just don't feel like doing rope climbs." I said, "Can I do strict pull-ups? Do you care?" And she's like, "No, go ahead and do strict pull-ups." And so that's just the vibe at my gym, where it's like, man, if you want, if you still want to get in the workout, but for whatever reason you're not feeling that, and we have a reasonable modification so you can still participate, that still meets that stimulus.
Well, and I think creating that vibe, to Brad's question, is like actually is going to promote unlimited, because now it's like, oh, I can, like, oh man, there's rope climbs today. Really, oh, but Christian always gives me an option. I can do strict pull-ups, and I modification, like Brad is saying, is part of the vibe and the culture. To Pat again. So we're on that day that we talked about a couple of times now. Part 2 at the chin over bar and dumbbell presses, and this woman Emily was like, "Hey Pat, can I do toes to bar?" And Pat's in it right now. For the record, he got his L3. He's going to take his L4 in the next year. He's actually a really great coach, and I love his classes. And he was like, "No, you could do dumbbell rows." And I saw it. She did not want to do dumbbell rows. Like, it's like, this is boring. I don't want to do it. And then she did them, to her credit.
So you said she wanted to do toes to bar instead of pull-ups?
Correct.
Oh,
and
okay.
I said, Pat, he came over after we were chatting. I was like, "I get why you did that. Like, it's a pull-up. It's this." What Emily was really saying to you was, "Hey, I want to work my abs because I'm a female, right? And I like doing toes to bar. I just did a ton of strict pull-ups, by the way, instead of chest to bar. Like, so I'm already a little fatigued in this pulling motion." I was like, indulge her. Let her do what she wants. Like, who cares? Now, when you're worried about safety, I think another reasonable consideration is I don't want everyone just changing things willy-nilly, right? But
yeah, there's a balance, because then it can turn into now, well, he wanted to do toes to bar. Can I do GHDs?
Right,
can I do? And we're like, all right, everybody.
But it was like, she's still hanging from the bar. Point is, like, I think, and to Brad's question much earlier in the show, like, back in the day, I mean, you read the book, like, I was dogmatic. You're running a 5K today and we're doing it again tomorrow because you didn't show up, right? Like, it's all about, are people showing up having fun? Like, if you scroll down on this post, like somebody says, it might be the next comment. I do want to talk about one of the other ones, but like, keep going. Some of maybe it was earlier. Like, we do live in a world where it's like obesity, right? Hey, if people are showing up, that's great. Like, let them be happy. Hey, scroll down. There was another one, Saucy Paws. I don't know who that is, but this person comments a lot. It ain't about the rope climbs or the dubs. It's about what happens between the ears when people do shit that sucks or they don't like. A lot of things in the outside world where we don't get to just not show up because we don't like it. That's stupid. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. That's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I think it's dumb. I think again, it's still meeting people where they're at. So I've got some members that need that in their life. They need to be like, hey, we're here to do uncomfortable things, and I'm here to coach you through uncomfortable things. And sometimes that means showing up to workouts that you don't like.
But my point from earlier is this: like, if I do CrossFit, it's harder. It's a harder thing physically, often mentally, than 99% of the world does.
Well, and I think what I'm saying too is also depends on how often somebody's coming up or somebody's showing up. Because if I got somebody showing up 2 days a week and they're like, oh, I'm not showing up to these other days because I don't like the workout, that's the person who I'm like, no, bro, like you need to get in.
Yeah.
We're going to do workouts you don't like. I'm going to do workouts I don't like. It's okay. We need to get over this. But if you're somebody who's coming in 4 or 5 times a week, like I have a member who never shows up on Fridays and she just doesn't show up on Fridays. And she's like, I'm never showing up on a Friday because I don't want to work out on Friday evening. And I'm like, all right. So I give her crap all the time, but like, I'm not going to die on this hill of like, you need to come work out on Friday.
Yeah. And also I would just say like, you have to take a lot of things into account. Like I'm 46. I train jujitsu consistently. Like I do plenty of hard stuff. I've been doing this a long time. Like it's not about the rope climb. And by the way, I'll do a rope climb. Like that was the last point I want to make about this. It's like, I don't like running. If that doesn't mean I won't show up every single time there's running, right? But if it's like run a 10K, I'm like, maybe I won't come in today, or maybe I'll just do it from home. But if it's like Helen, I'm gonna run a 400 3 times, right? Like, so it's not about cherry picking. Doesn't mean you never do these movements ever again. It might just mean, hey, when this is a workout that has an excessive amount of rope climbs, I'm probably not going to be there. But if it's like 10 rounds and there's one rope climb it's very different. So keep that in mind. But more importantly, as we've discussed most of the show, having fun and being consistent is where it's at.
And I think as both an owner and a coach, like I think if you start to notice people aren't showing up on certain days, like what do I need to do to adjust the programming, the class plan, adjust my coaching so that more people do feel excited to show up when there's rope climbs. If I regularly get low attendance with rope climbs, well, I'm not going to not program them, but what do I need to do to get more people in the door?
Right. And the answer might be like, hey, not enough of our members can do rope climbs. Let's do a rope climb clinic one day and get people better at it. Let's answer Brad's question, and then maybe we have time for 1 or 2 more. If anybody else has a question, drop it in. Brad's question was, what do you think is the minimum effective dose for CrossFit to make an impact on a person's overall health and fitness? Let's assume they're not doing other fitness stuff on the other day. So someone, let's say this is a brand new person, new to health and fitness, trying to make CrossFit or become fitter, healthier in their lives. I mean, anything's more than they're doing, so I would give you that. But let's say like, what's a reasonable amount that we can expect? I would say if I can get someone off the street to do 3 classes a week, that would be fantastic. But then the next step would be and improve their nutrition. Like,
yeah, well, there's
nutrition at all. We'll discuss that on one of the next shows. But it's like, if you can dial in your nutrition, you're gonna make way better progress.
Yeah, I mean, I think the answer is like minimum 3, if you set for a minimum number. But there was even some studies that I think WOD Science, if you follow them on Instagram, I think they've put out before. But there's some data that supports how that the more often you show up, the safer and less likely you are to actually injure yourself. Yeah. And so the threshold they had was actually 3 days. People who come 1 or 2 days are actually at a higher risk for injury than people who show up 5 or 6 days a week. And so
memberships, that's one of the very main reasons Ferd and I from day one have talked about, hey, limited memberships I'm a great example. I train jiu-jitsu. I've got a home gym. I'm the guy that wants a limited membership. Like, I want to come in twice a week and hammer it and then do my thing. That said, if you don't offer a limited membership, guess what? I'm paying for your unlimited membership, right? So there's that.
Probably not that much more.
Right.
I mean, like, really, is it going to be $20, $30 cheaper?
And to be fair, on a week I'm feeling good, I probably come in that third time because of it, right? So it's like, if you don't offer it, it's not an option. That said, there are people that need it, and by all means, keep that limited membership in your back pocket. Like, hey, I'm a triathlete. Hey, I have other activities, or I have a home gym. I just want to come in twice a week. Time and a place. But remember, if you don't offer it, their option is to go unlimited.
That's what we do.
All right. Hey, I think we did a pretty good job. First time going live.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
We've had a good conversation about and that's what this is going to be all about. We're going to talk about CrossFit. We're going to talk about coaching as we build up an audience. Brad, we appreciate your questions in there, but for everyone, we want you to be a part of this discussion. We're going to have some guests on here over the next few months, but Tuesdays, 12:30. Put it in your calendar.
Thursday. Thursday.
What is it? What's going on?
This Thursday, Todd and Kristen are going to be going live also on Thursdays at 9 a.m. Eastern time. And so that'll be on in 2 days.
I'll be sleeping, but tell me how it goes, please.
Yeah, well, I'll let you know. Yeah, Kristen won't be there. She's got stuff going on, but Kristen and Todd, they'll be regularly on there, and they're going to be going over lots of coach development stuff. Specifically, they're going to dig into the professional coach. So if you've been getting the professional coach emails from HQ, Todd and Kristen Inside the Knowledge have been breaking those down, talking to some of the authors who wrote articles, and we're going to start doing that live. So those are going to be, I'm excited about those.
Same. Awesome. By the way, we'll be back live next week. I'm out of town. Fern, Marcus, and I are in Vegas, Sin City. We work with Alex Hormozy, so we will be there for a couple of days doing that type of stuff. But beyond that, for the foreseeable future, Tuesdays, 12:30. Share this if you've enjoyed it, James. Go ahead, tell Shai all about it. Have him watch this. Everybody else, it was great seeing you, Christian. Thanks for being my co-host today, and look forward to seeing everybody in the coming weeks. See you guys later.
See ya.